Hello and welcome to the first part of the audit and compliance section, which is the introduction to audit and compliance. And we're going to have a quick overview of what actually means auditing, what does compliance mean, what is actually compliance auditing, and we look at compliance auditing in ISEC. We will keep it as brief as possible. As you guys know, auditing, usually people know it as the financial audit. Most countries do have this, that at the end of the year they need to submit for the audit for the government so they can actually check if everything is okay. So auditing, there is a few different types of auditing. So we also have like performance audits, quality, and compliance audit. So basically it is usually done through a third party, because obviously if you're auditing your own company, then there might be some ulterior motives, which is not good. So usually it's done by an independent third party, so it is kept objective. There is nothing shady going on. And so otherwise this is kind of like auditing. It is pretty much to see, is everything done the same way it is supposed to be done. And we will see in the compliance part as well that compliance is pretty much as well the way that we can see that if there is a certain policy, if there's a certain rule, that this is actually being implemented. So if we say like, okay, there should only be red apples on the table, this is complying to the red apples on the table, that you only put red apples on the table. And then the auditing part is that we actually check, are there only red apples on the table or not? And if not, then they didn't follow the rule. That is pretty much the simplest thing that I can think about. But it's pretty much, compliance is there for the bare minimum, right? To see, okay, we have certain rules in place, so our company works works good, that the customer are satisfied, and if those policies and those rules are not being followed, it can be negatively impacted on the company but also on the customer, and that's obviously not the goal that we want. And that can mean we have reimbursements, we have complaints, so all sorts of different things. So going over to the compliance audit, because this is what ECB does, is the compliance audit. It's not a finance audit. It is, like I said, it is basically looking at the policies and the guidelines of a company and looking at basically, are they following these rules? How is the organization doing? Are there any violations happening? Is someone not following the rule? And it can just give you a very good overlook at the company and see, okay, where are the risks that are being taken? Where do we need to maybe mitigate the risks and provide more support and provide more tracking maybe. But to look at this as compliance audit in ISEC, it is the ECB Audit System. So the ECB Audit System, we have our APIP, those are our policies, and we have the ECB Audit System that checks, okay, are we violating against the APIP? Are we actually following these rules? And then obviously each entity is a little bit different. So the ECB Audit System is just looking if all of the minimums and the responsibilities are being met. And through this, we can help the entity to really see, okay, we have a risk in this LC, they're not doing their job properly, they're not following the rules, and the EP's experience are being affected negatively. And obviously this is not how it's supposed to be. So ECB helps with the ECB Audit System to be more customer centric and ensure that all of the minimums are being delivered. But so this was the first part. It's nice and short, but so you understand what exactly we are doing in the auditing compliance, what are like the bases and where we're coming from. But we're going to go in more detail in the next session.